Hi, everyone. I figure we give a couple minutes. It's 3:26 to get some more participants. Hi there. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much, State Auditor Kathy McGuiness. And I want to say, in honor of Women's History Month, your first female state auditor in the state of Delaware. So we made history, and we've done it again with Project Gray Fox. Very excited to talk about this project. Just a little bit here. Hold on one second. Okay, there we go. So, for those of you, which many in the state of Delaware, I speak up and down in the counties to Rotaries, to whatever, chambers, schools, most people have no idea we have a state auditor and what we do. So just to give you a little bit of background, I was elected in 2018 in November, sworn in. And my predecessor had been in for 30 years. I'm proudly serving as your first female state auditor. And this event is especially, I want to say special, just because it's Women's History Month, and you all are out there doing so many good things and moving and shaking and really making change in many, whether it's policy, government, or in your community. So I'm very honored, and I want to thank you. So as your state auditor, as I said, my predecessor was in for 30 years, and 30 years is a real long time, and things are different. So whoever was going to come into this office was going to, let's say, run into some challenges. It's going to be a different person, and you can't fix 30 years of a broken office in a term. So lots of work to do, but we're working hard on your behalf. And guess what? We're going to start with a poll question right now. What does the Delaware State Auditor's Office do? For those of you who are able to engage and get to your monitors, reviews or assists with personal income and taxes. Yeah. Hold on. Go back. I can't. Second, do we audit private businesses? Third, oversee the use of state funds. So we're going to give you a couple seconds. Okay. 40 seconds. Let's see. I can't wait for these results. All right, are we good? Are the results in? For those of you who participated, thank you very much. We're going to have some more poll questions. They're not tough. I know it's after lunch. So we're going to be we oversee the use of state funds. We do audits, the single audit. And so we do, in all fairness, look at federal funds as well. But the majority is we're an independent office overseeing the other agencies and entities to make sure you're getting a fair deal for your money. So Connor, thank you very much. He's going to be helping today and working the monitor and assisting with the interactive portion. So let's get to Project Gray Fox. For those of you who do not know, gray fox is Delaware's wildlife animal. And what this is a project that provides, independent, objective oversight of taxpayer dollars. The auditor's office is independent of the other branches of government to prevent conflicts of interest. So we can truly say we're independent. And it's rare that agencies or entities are excited about being audited. It's not a very popular job, as you can imagine. But we try and reinforce the audits are never a gotcha. If I came in with that attitude, it should be more of, hey, we have room to improve. Think about it. If any of you out there have ever coached a sport or watched a sport, you have a coach and you have an athlete, and they help them. They teach them how to do something better, whether it's kicking a ball, throwing a ball, swimming. But it's the same thing with homework. We're doing that as well. We are here to hopefully be a resource. And if entities do better, they have some findings or recommendations and they can fix it, we all do better in state government. It is a statewide, one of 6 statewide elected officials. So we serve a 4-year term, and we represent everyone. So that's kind of important. If you didn't know what was going on there in state government, we're working hard up and down the state. So Project Gray Fox, after taking office in 2019, I recognized that Delaware, after a little research, had a D+ in transparency. What does that mean? That means there's a research group that maybe every 3 or 4 years puts out a report, and they rate the different states, and they have similar categories, and then they rate how we do, and then they give a grade. And we had a D+. And I'm sorry, we're the first state. We deserve better. We should have an A+. Again, I did walk into many challenges, 30 years of my predecessor, and the time has changed. We have evolved. There is technology. When he took over, remember the old manual phone book with the pages? We all now have cell phones. I mean, things are different, and they're moving rapidly. So something that we need to talk about with Project Gray Fox. This is a very unique and different project. It's different from any portal that you're going to see, and you'll understand why it's one-stop shopping. One of the points is there's 367.3 million reasons why that we need to pay attention to the auditor's office. We have identified 24.5 million with a particular entity overcharging the state of Delaware for its prescription drug plan from 2018 to 20. Now, it was not a good rate, and we can do better. And that's where we're going to leave that particular conversation. The Department of Corrections, they could have saved them up to $44 million over a 7-year period in pharmacy prescription drug costs for inmates without compromising services. And then every year we do, and this is pre-me, every year we do something called the annual fire report, because the majority of our fire companies are volunteer. They're slowly becoming a little bit of hybrid, because you do need to have folks on there around the clock. But 255.7 million, that was just this year. So we're close to $1 billion we've shown in savings, and this is quite a big deal. I will tell you, one of the things we've had, and when I took over, wanted to make it a little more robust, and it was our fraud hotline. So people can call on the phone, they can call on the 800 number, and they also could email us. So we have a website, auditor.delaware.gov, and we allow folks to call in, email, and developed actually the fraud app in 2019. So if you go to fraud.delaware.gov, you will see that there's many ways, so everyone should be able to reach us. And we still really get regular mail as well. That's important, because last year we had over 1,000 communications in a fiscal year, over 1,000 communications in one fiscal year, which was more than the previous 10 years combined. So we know the fraud app is working, because everybody carries one of these. You could be reporting fraud at a store, and people may think you're just texting or scrolling through pictures. So it's very easy and convenient to do so. Again, we talk about collaboration. We do work with other agencies. A lot of times fraud comes here, we refer it to another agency. A lot of times we have fraud that is referred to us as well. I didn't finish that. Thank you. Sorry. One of the fun facts is nearly half of all the fraud, which you may know, comes from tips from you, from the public. So this is very important. It's a very important part of our office. We also see that the majority, the top things or entities or agencies that rise in number at our hotline match our risk assessment survey, which we developed in 2019. So now every year, our audit plan is risk-based. Very important. I think I have one more thing on there, Connor. Okay. So also something else that's kind of important I want to talk about in the very beginning with the, which is going to lean into what we're doing is during COVID, which I know we're skipping to 2020, we did create a national COVID data template, which was a partnership and collaboration with other states. But let's go back. Year one was transformation. What I did is I hired an outside entity to come in and actually audit our own office. So we knew where we stood against best practices, benchmarks, and how we could modernize and become fantastic. And that's what we wanted to do in comparison with other states. So that was one of the things I wanted to do is create a baseline. So there were more findings in our office and how we can improve than there were agencies being audited. So we took the time, we took about a year for a way to reset and engage and say, how can we really re-engineer this office and modernize it? Again, let's think about the old phone book that we used to have, the paper phone book, and now we have the cell phone. So times have changed. Year two, we worked for a year with the inspectors general to update oversight.gov, which is a federal site where they have audits for federal government and investigations. However, they didn't have the state map, and so they created their one-stop shopping, and we were proud to partner with them and work diligently to upgrade that. And you can now see states' sites, their audits, their engagements, their investigations, all loaded on that site as well. So we're really proud. I think we're in the lead still for participation and having the reports there. So we're really excited about that. One thing I also thought was interesting coming into this is when I asked what happens if there's a finding, I was told, I don't know, not much. We can make recommendations, but we can't enforce recommendations. So with that being said, we actually started a follow-up program. Again, I don't have all the great ideas. I work very hard with NSAA and NASAC, and I like to poll other states, and they are kind enough to be that portal, that go-to, that can get out the information and bring it back in. So loads of other states gave me their information, their playbooks, their policy, whatever they were doing, and we worked together in-house to create something for the state of Delaware. So we do now have a follow-up program. So stay tuned for what we're doing because we're going to have some awardees that actually have done a remarkable job. Very exciting. Again, after the first year, we had launched the fraud app in 2019. Very excited for that. And this allows people to get involved. And then, information was just getting out. That follow-up program, oversight.gov, started the first chapter of ACFE for Delaware and the national audit, the COVID audit. So then we go in to year three, 2021, and now we worked with a different group of states, and we've created another national audit where we can collaborate and share that audit and work for free with other states and compare and contrast later, which we are doing now with one of them, and that's unemployment insurance fraud. This is all a part of a collaboration in itself. Even though we're collaborating with other states and doing the template, in comes this historic launched project, Gray Fox. So, the American Rescue Plan Act, what is it? We know that there was COVID, there was the CARES Act, over $1 billion. It came to the state. The state gave that, delegated out the money, distributed it, and it was to be spent. The rules changed along the way, but it was to be spent within a 1-year time frame. Then we're still finding ourselves in this pandemic, right? And the American Rescue Plan Act, which we call ARP or ARPA, it's the second largest COVID relief package from the federal government. Again, we got $1.55 billion to here to little old Delaware. Thank you, Senator Carper. Thank you, Senator Coons. And thank you, Congresswoman Lisa Blunt Rochester, because they made sure that we got these funds, but they were for a different way of getting to us this time. It was supposed to be more local because we know what we need locally, right? We don't need the big, we don't need the higher ups telling us what we need in our town, whether it's a piece of a sidewalk or there's a pothole or we have a water infrastructure problem. And the interesting thing about this as well is you have longer. You have 3 years now, 3 years to be able to use these funds. This is a big deal. We're finding different municipalities who have received this money directly this time. Municipalities, so your cities, your towns, and your counties. Okay, they have received this money differently. And so let's go back to that. It's CARES Act. It's CARES Act money, but this unlike that, it went directly to your school districts, your municipalities, your counties, and it goes to the state agencies. So when we had the CARES Act, for us, for transparency purposes, we created a fund tracker, a CARES Act fund tracker. Every Monday it's updated, by the way. You can go on there. It's very easy to use. Pretty high level, and just shows you, hey, this is an agency and this is where they spent their money. And it was meant for that immediate economic and relief. It was more immediate. Again, we had the 1 year to do so. And many people, had loans for businesses. Some of them found that they were forgiven. They had a tough time maybe trying to even keep their doors open and pay their rent or their bills or their employees, et cetera, because they were shut down. Now, the ARP funding is intended to be a long-term solution. It's very different than the first. It's different the way it was distributed, and it's different as far as its longevity, because this is a long-term solution for state and local government to help recover from the pandemic. Oh my goodness, it's time for another poll question. All right, what can't ARP funds be used for? It's either pensions, infrastructure, or replacing lost public sector revenue. So we're going to give you, 30, 40 seconds, and we hope some folks participate. All right. Okay, got a little bit more participation this time, and everybody knows what is going on because you chose A. Yeah, you cannot use it for pensions. But after launching Project Gray Fox, I hosted a series of town halls, one in each county at least, and one of the elected officials highlighted the flexibility of the ARP funding and what it can be used for. So when that was one of the questions from somebody at the town hall in the audience, he jokingly said, it's better to ask what it can't be used for. So moving on. ARP funding. Well, what can it be used for? ARP funding for municipalities, counties, and school districts was purposely flexible. This allows local governments to customize the path that is best for them for pandemic recovery. There are 7 buckets. That's what we call them, 7 buckets. The U.S. Treasury specifically mentions as qualifying expenditures for ARP funding. And local governments have until December 31st of 2024 to encumber or to set aside the ARP money for recovery spending. Now, I mentioned the 7 buckets, but keep in mind there's underneath those buckets are buckets. Okay, so it gets a little more detailed, but just remember those 7. Many people think that the federal government spent 1.9 trillion. That means the money's been spent locally, but that's not the case. So many local governments have hesitated to spend the money. One, waiting for additional guidance from the U.S. Treasury on how it can be spent. Keep in mind, remember the CARES Act, which we talked about earlier, they changed things a few times and people were afraid, are they going to have to repay it? What if I don't use it this way? It was a very confusing time for many people, and rightly so. But also, they want to see if there would be a second bill that covers infrastructure separately. So this is very important because other examples of qualifying ARP spending could be lost revenue from closed fire halls, or hazard pay for nurses or first responders in state and local facilities, COVID tests and vaccinations. So there's loads of examples. But one thing I wanted to mention is what's unique about this. It's great. It's going directly to the towns and cities and counties because it's local, but also keep in mind, they have different ways of doing this. What we're seeing is, one town might say, I'm going to leave it up to the city manager. We have the next town that says, well, I'm going to let we're going to put a committee together. Then you have a city that says, well, we're going to look at the fiscal folks and let them, give us the list. And then there's other folks that have been preparing, just putting out a 5 or 10 year plan, a long range planning, so they could start picking off of that, what they were going to make a priority. All right, Project Gray Fox to the rescue. I'm not sure if any of you remember last year when we launched Project Gray Fox, it was the year of collaboration. Project Gray Fox encourages local governments to see how ARP funds were spent in neighboring or overlapping entities. What we have found with the participants in the local governments, the state, your governments, your cities and your towns, it's voluntary, and it lets Delawareans know. It allows Delawareans to know. Just because the money hasn't been distributed doesn't mean it has been spent. Keep that in mind. And we'll talk about that a little bit more when we do something interactive, because they have several years to spend the funds, and how much local governments received allows every Delawarean the opportunity to advocate how the money should be spent. It allows you to be the citizen fiscal watchdog. Very important if you want to be engaged in government and how monies affect you and your community. Again, much of that money hasn't been spent. So we're very interested in how things are going. So are we ready for, okay. It's the same. All right. Why is this important? Some of you might be familiar with FSF, which is it's an abbreviation for First State Financial, which is the accounting system for the state of Delaware. State agencies use it and school districts use it. Well, some of the spending is available on the other state websites. Project Gray Fox offers the opportunity for a comprehensive list of all the expenditures for state, school districts, county, and municipal spending. So let's talk about that for 1 second. We can pull down easily from FSF the information when the money is spent. We can pull that right off through. You can see your state agencies. You can see how they're spending money. You can see the school districts. It drills down. However, municipalities, our cities and towns, they use different software, different processes, different procedures. They're not all on the same software and platform to be able to communicate. So what we are is we've turned into that hub. So they participate voluntarily, they put their information in, and we'll get back to that too. So there has been a common misconception, which I want to make clear as well, that Project Gray Fox is duplicating efforts. It is not. There's over 341 million, not thousand, 341 million in spending that's not covered under existing state spending sites. What does that mean? There are funds out there that are not being shown at different platforms in the state. That's over 22% of the 1.55 billion Delaware received. Over 22% of the funds that Delaware received is not readily available for you, for the public. So, why is this important? But wait, there's more. The U.S. Treasury has reporting requirements to track these ARP spendings to ensure it's spent on qualifying expenditures. Remember the 7 buckets that we talked about? So the U.S. Treasury also wants a report at the end of the year. And what's really neat is Project Gray Fox portal was designed to export each of the entities' spending in a way that meets the U.S. Treasury reporting guidelines or requirements. So that's quite a big deal. What's that saying is if you're participating in Project Gray Fox, you can use the majority, over 50 of all the entities are able to export their spending that meets the U.S. Treasury guidelines. That means they don't have to hire someone else to do it. If someone can just enter that data a couple minutes out of the week. So there's some entities like the city of Wilmington who are participating with Project Gray Fox, received a little bit more money than, so they were not able to use this for their Treasury report, but there's only a few in the entire state. Okay. Project Gray Fox is an online portal, but what's an online portal? It's a patented online portal software system that helps visualize the spending of data. So it's an online software system that helps visualize the spending of data. And we're going to give you a demonstration here pretty soon. So our office, which, the auditor's office, is hyper-focused on improving government transparency, efficiency, and accountability. Transparency, efficiency, and accountability. We do not duplicate efforts. We try not to duplicate efforts, and we hope other folks are not, because that's not good for the efficiency and economy of state government. But we believe Project Gray Fox touches on all 3. It works via this patented software system designed so town managers or city managers, etc., can efficiently spend just minutes a week importing spending information. This will allow the spending to be transparent, and hopefully that level of transparency provides accountability. Where can Project Gray Fox and the Fox Tracker information be found? If you go to auditor.delaware.gov, you can see how easy it is, and we're going to show you how easy it is in just a few minutes. Okay, and what are the benefits for Project Gray Fox? For Delawareans, it's simple. It's transparency in government allows all Delawareans to be a citizen fiscal watchdog. And it also allows everyone to advocate how the money's being spent. Don't you want to be a part of it now and understand what your neighboring community or school district is doing, or someone in another county? I mean, we can learn from each other. And instead of waiting to the end of the year when there's a report and you can see how it was spent. Citizen engagement is very key right now. This is also important for participating entities. Having that information already publicly available, studies show that reduces FOIA, which is Freedom of Information Act, public records response times. The majority of these entities can use this reporting requirements via a quick export instead of, instead of, having extra work, extra time, extra resources for this report. Something else is another benefit is leadership by example. Project Gray Fox is a voluntary program for the municipalities and the counties. And there are 20 municipalities that have chosen to participate, are leading by example and setting the standard for good governance. So when we get to that slide, which could be coming up next, oh, got a poll question. Sorry, you're gonna have to wait a minute. We're going to talk about this. We're going to talk about good governance here. But first, let's go to the poll question. Has your county and municipality opted in to participate? A, yes, thankfully. No. B, nope, not yet. Or C, I don't know. I'm going to give you, about 30 seconds or so to answer this. This is very important if you care how your money's spent. Okay, we're getting some, oh my goodness, this is good. All right. So let's see. Although the city of Wilmington cannot use Project Gray Fox exported information for their U.S. Treasury reporting because requirements, they're too large and they receive too much funding, they're still leading by example by voluntarily participating. This is so commendable. Thank you, the city of Wilmington. We were just so excited for them to participate in this project. That speaks volumes. I hope there's some folks from Wilmington or people that have gone to Wilmington that understand that they care about good governance. And as I told you, over 50 of the municipalities can participate in this. Oh, and did I say it's no charge? I don't know if I mentioned that. It's at no cost to you. It's a cost to us, not to you. So through FSF, which we talked about for state financial, the auditor's office can pull that spending information for state agencies and school districts. Please look at this slide. These are the 20 municipalities that are currently participating, and we'd love to have more. And we are going to let you know, we're going to be putting some testimonials up. I mean, 5 minutes a week. This is really worth it. If you care about your community and there's any elected officials out there that are not participating, look at Georgetown, Harrington, Dewey Beach, Fenwick Island, Lewis, Milton, Ocean View, Rehoboth Beach, Seaford, Slaughter Beach, Ellesmere, Delaware City, Newark, Wilmington, Camden, Hartley, Greenwood, Milford, and Bridgeville. They care. This is too easy to do and too helpful to not join and be a participant in this for your constituents. Again, if you care about good governance, you're participating in this, and we have free training. We can come on site if you need help. There is just, this is a one-stop shop for good information that speaks, because I tell you, now more than ever, people don't trust their government. So here's a way for you to, extend and show that you do care. So we are going to have a visual of the most recent addition to our ARP tracking efforts, and we're calling it the Fox Tracker instead of the Fund Tracker, which we have on our site as well, but that was CARES Act. The Fox Tracker provides a high-level overview of ARP allocations and spending across the state. This new tool just launched this week is a great one. It's one-stop shopping. You can click on this and see how the ARP funds are used. And over on the right, we have the overview of the state agency's spending. On the left, we have our overview of non-entitlement units. So this is listed, each of those municipalities received. And a small verified gray fox for each of the ones that are current participants. So you can click on each participating municipality to go to our visual storyboards and drill down for additional detail from each entity. I think we're going to break for a second. I'm going to give Connor, you're going to take over, and we're going to show him a quick demo. A couple minutes.
Yep.
Nothing too, it's exciting.
It's called about 3 minutes.
3 minutes?
And we'll start our demo.
Let's do it.
All right, everyone, we're going to do a brief demo of how these tools work in practice, just to give you a little firsthand experience and acquaint you with our website and how to navigate to get there. So here we are at auditor.delaware.gov. This is our website. What you can actually do here, I'm going to start off by showing you the Fox tracker that we just showcased. We're really excited about this. We think this brings a lot of value. And for most people that just want a quick overview of how these funds are being used across Delaware, this is going to be a really great one-stop shop to take a look and see how these funds are being used. So here you can see we have over 1.55 billion allocated to the state of Delaware. And we're going to follow through here to see a breakdown of funds. Bear with us just a moment as we load. Need to cue some Jeopardy music. Our internet here in the state is a little slow today. Apologies if we have any connectivity issues. Okay. So I may have spoken too soon. It does appear that our internet is not being fully cooperative. Please check out this part of the site. I think everyone that's listening is going to find a lot of value here. It really is a fantastic one-stop shop. If you are using your computer and you have a mobile device available, you can go to auditor.delaware.gov/fox-tracker, and that'll take you directly there. It's pretty well optimized for mobile as well, so it should be very accessible no matter what device you're using. So what I'll do, just to keep us moving, if you see here at Gray Fox, this is where you can go to see our actual tools. So we go to the Gray Fox initiative. And this is our landing page. So this just kind of gives our backdrop. Of course, I won't read that to you. We've already explained it, but it's our accessibility portal and transparency portal. So if you want to drill down and actually see what we've got going on here, you're going to want to go to our visual storyboard section. We'll scroll down here. And then you have the option of looking at a couple different things. So there's state and county summaries, there's municipality details, school district details, and state government spending generally. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and we'll start and just showcase a particular agency under the state government spending section. So as you can see, this is the overview of how all of this stuff has been spent. A tremendous amount of money is going out, and planners are very actively trying to identify the best opportunities to use these funds. This provides an agency overview, a full breakdown of how these funds are being used. And something great that we have here is that we get this information again directly from the state's accounting system. So it really does allow a very detailed view of how these agencies and school districts are spending this money. For school districts and state agency, it actually does appear the same. And if you work with FSF, these fields are going to look a lot more familiar. So there are actually 23 data points from appropriations, account codes, of course, agency or entity names, the type of project that they're undertaking, as well as, of course, the important part, the dollar amount. How much are we actually spending, right? So you can go through, you can look at this overview, you can look at specific agencies, specific school districts, and that's actually what I'd like to showcase now. So we'll go ahead and take a school district detail. And again, this is going to look pretty similar to the state government or state agency information because it comes all directly from FSF. This part is fantastic. And it's fantastic because you can really drill down and get a transactional view of how these funds are being spent. So if you're a fiscal manager and you work in FSF or you work across the state, this is going to look really, really familiar. And even if you don't, what's great is that you can use this option here to manage your columns and say, maybe I don't necessarily need every field here. Maybe I want an appropriation description. We'll go descriptions, bud ref, maybe not, activity codes, program codes. And let's just say we want some amount and just a general idea of when this was all done. So we can actually eliminate a little bit of that data and narrow it down to what we're really actually trying to look for here. So just for argument's sake, we'll do voucher ID, supplier ID, account, appropriation, and of course sum. You'll see down here, it narrowed down our fields to the few things that we wanted to actually look at. So there's a lot of ability to really query for the type of information you want to find. You can do a lot of sorting. This really is to be a tool so the public can get it and have a really good idea as to how these funds are being spent. So just to give you an example of the municipal side, I'm going to go ahead and go into, let's say Ellesmere. We've been very happy with their participation. Here you can see we have some very sad crying gray foxes here, and that's because they're not yet participating. So if you see your municipality here, you didn't see it on our prior slide, let them know you care about transparency and good governance in the first state, and you'd like to know how these funds are being spent. For Ellesmere in particular, again, just to give a brief idea of what type of data is available here. It's all the same type of information, right? It's in a limited amount of detail because the municipalities submit this detail directly. So they're submitting, what project are we spending these funds on? What bucket, if you will, has this fallen under? Is it for COVID-19 testing, education assistance and academic services, prison and jail costs? So you get a really granular look at how these municipal governments are spending, which is incredibly important. Again, can't stress this enough. This is the only tool that has the ability to track over $341 million worth of ARPA funds coming to Delaware. So we're really excited about this part. We're really excited about our municipal engagement, and we are very actively looking to train and onboard more municipalities. If you're interested, or if you just want more information, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. We're very happy to help. So allow me just a moment. We'll transition back into our PowerPoint, and we'll go ahead and start wrapping up. Thank you.
Okay, welcome back, everyone. Thanks for staying with us. So we're going to talk a little bit more, finishing up here soon, and then we're going to listen to you and see what you have to maybe some questions or offer us some information. But again, we are so excited to have 20 municipalities on board, and we're actively working to train and onboard more. Again, as Connor just mentioned, if you go on there and your fox has got a tier, your community's not participating. So reach out to your elected officials. They're the ones that are working there for you. And, we understand the idea of additional financial reporting may sound like a daunting task, but talk to any of our current participants and we're confident you'll find that they are pleasantly surprised by how quick and easy the process really is. We're constantly thinking of ways to improve this tool for our users and the public. And we do value your feedback and any feedback. And if you're, to improve this. So if you go on there and you use it and you see something, let us know. Sometimes it's Connor training and tweaking something. I mean, we just added that Fox tracker, which was not a heavy lift, but it's something that people like as well. And we're seeing how you're engaging. But again, we do value your input. And some of the participants have provided wonderful suggestions that led to updates. We implemented them, and sometimes it even simplified some of the features there on Project Gray Fox. So we do listen and we do care, because we know if it's not easy to use, you're 3 clicks away from going somewhere else, and that's in any point. I understand, how we need these things now, and we need them to be easy. So at this point, how do I get involved? You can contact us at grayfox@delaware.gov. If you have any questions, contact us at grayfox.delaware.gov. We always host the trainings, as we said, for those who sign up for the project. And we set up a secure account in a portal. So every week it's pretty simple. And talk to your fellow elected officials if you see the fox in your area with a tier. But it's pretty interesting to see, to compare and contrast. And really, it's a learning tool as well. So we're getting ready. We have about 10 minutes left. And I thought it would be a good time now to open up for any Q&A or sign up for the Project Gray Fox right now. There's got to be somebody out there that is going, this is a great project. Believe me, the rest of the country likes it. We've had other states now that have looked into it, and they're modeling projects after Project Gray Fox, Delaware's wildlife animal. So if you do have any questions, if you could kindly put them in the chat box. We have 10 minutes, so we're happy to do our best to answer them. And if for some reason we want to expand on that, or you want a longer answer, we're happy to get back to you. So give us your information as well. And you can just give that directly if you feel more comfortable, or just reach out to us at grayfox.delaware.gov if you don't want to do this in a interactive portal right now. Oh, thank you, Julia.
And thank you, Julia, for paying attention. I saw your answers, and you know how you're part of the state spending these funds. I love to see it.
Yeah.
Thank you for your engagement.
Julia knows what's going on. All right, so about 8 minutes left. We're going to wait one more minute in case you have any question. No question is a bad question or a silly question. And if not, you'll get an extra few minutes to transition into your next program or presentation. I'm not sure what is next for you, but thank you very much. And Connor's typing it in right now, grayfox@delaware.gov. I should have said Gray Fox with the A. I do know there's a Gray Fox with an E, there's a tavern, and something else.
Cute little restaurant here.
Yeah,
Over.
great
Yep.
restaurant. All right. Well, sincerely, we thank you. Thank you. It was an honor, especially during Women's History Month as your first female state auditor. Thank you to our sponsors. They are listed on the slide. Please look at them. They're right there. And thank you for participating, and thanks for caring about Project Gray Fox, accountability and transparency.